This is the time when we would normally acknowledge the territory that we live on, whether we are here in Northumberland County, if we're on the West Coast, down south, regardless of where we are. Today, we need to address something far more horrifying. Those of us who live here in Canada are all aware of the news out of Kamloops, British Columbia, just a few days ago. 215 children buried on the grounds of the Kamloops Residential School, the largest church-led residential school in Canada. I'm sure that, like me, we've run the gamut of emotions: horror, anger, just incredible anger over what has happened, and a feeling of hopelessness, perhaps, or helplessness. And I want to remind each and every one of us that those of us who are part of the United Church of Canada have no call to feel smug that this particular institution was led by a different denomination. We in the United Church of Canada also have blood on our hands. We have no call to be smug, but we are called to action. In our faith statement, we talk about the call for us to seek justice and resist evil. You know, there are people who have asked me over the last few years, not just here, but back in Nova Scotia, why do we apologize? Why do we need to apologize to the Indigenous people of our country? This is why we need to apologize. Not only to acknowledge the land that we are working on, but to apologize. We may not personally have been responsible for the actions that led to the deaths of these children and their burial in unmarked graves, but we are responsible for our actions right here and now. We are called to respond. You're called to let this community and let the wider world know that we are horrified, that we are angry, not only for these lives lost, but for the families and the ripples in the pond that continue to this day. We're responsible for how we act now. This morning, I sent an email to the members of our session. Many of you probably have not yet had a chance to look at your emails, suggesting that on Tuesday evening that we hold a candlelight vigil, a community candlelight vigil. You know, in the grand scheme of things, it's small. But if our community can come together for 1 hour on Tuesday evening, perhaps we can let some light shine. I ask you to consider that. I'll be speaking with our church session over the next day and figuring out how to make this happen. But this is why we apologized to the Indigenous and Inuit and Métis people of our country. This is why we acknowledge the land upon which we live and work and play. This is why. May we hold them in our hearts. May we be respectful of lives lost and lives that continue. Amen.